So we're at the Treasure and Gold Show, and we've been invited out. Very cool. We get to go. They ask us to come up and meet and greet people. I always think in terms, I'm always surprised at the hundreds and hundreds of people that want to shake your hand, that know who you are and stuff. It always kind of throws it off. They put me and Frank on the same side, which seemed kind of odd. And then Woody wasn't even there with us. But it'd be cool to, you know, split us up and have us all. The first time I ran into it was like Beatlemania. They were running a big screen of us in the back, and I walked in the back doors. They brought me in through the back doors. I look up, I see this big screen up on the back with us in the show, and I'm looking up at it like going, that's kind of really cool to see myself on a giant movie screen. And then I look down and people yell, "It's Wayne!" And then Frank and Woody are next to me talking to me, and this crowd of like several hundred people move and just completely circle us, and they're sticking their babies in my face. Kind of like very weird and overwhelming, because I'm just there to say hi and to my friends, and I am completely just enveloped in people, and they're shoving stuff and sign this and sign that, and you're doing all this. It's very cool, but at the same time, I'm just me. In this case, they had us up front, and there were hundreds and hundreds of people. They had two lines. The line on the other side's moving, so I don't know how many people were waiting. Like, I didn't expect that many people. Meet and greet and get through everybody. It's always cool going out to the things. It's fun to interact with all the people that kind of like doing what you're doing. There's prospectors, there's treasure hunters, there's people from all sorts of walks of life. You run into people that you generally know, other Dutch hunters and prospectors that you generally don't see all the time. So it's a very cool thing to kind of get down and get to kind of share the time and spend time with various different people. You know, it's just, again, it's just a kind of a fun day. I don't know how long we're there, 5, 6, 7 hours. And Frank and I kind of enjoyed it. I think Frank enjoys the social aspect, just talking to friends and some various people and sharing stories. I always get into it, definitely, with a lot of the stuff is kind of like getting to see the kids that are the next generations that are running around and looking at the cool rocks and starting to get into this stuff, because that's the next generation. And I come from a generation between the older group and a younger group, and there's not many people in my age range and group that kind of hung through this. I'm kind of like that little standalone group, younger than Frank and Shoes and Tom and everybody else, and older than Jesse and Josh and my friend Randy and all these other guys. So I'm kind of that guy in the middle, and my generation kind of became a very blue collar, put your nose to the grindstone, which I did, but I kept this interest alive inside of me, and it's kind of odd because I look around and don't find a lot of that generation. A lot of my generation that didn't get into this and show up at a lot of this stuff was the guys that I kind of hang with, their sons and daughters, and they're just not really into it. And I know Ron's a bit older than me, but Jesse and Josh are definitely 10, 15 years younger than me. And that's part of that, is looking at that and realizing, wow, I'm kind of like a middle generation. I'm glad to see it, but it's just a great thing to see the younger people, the teens and the younger kids, starting to kind of get in this and get their hands dirty.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Gold Show.
Well, you know, we do a lot of volunteer stuff. We have the big treasure gold shows come to Phoenix every year, and we teach a lot of people how to pan for gold. I'm very big into teaching. I love to teach people how to do this stuff. They do a lot of stuff for you in the treasure shows, but I'm still with Frank and Wayne, and I want to be out there in the legend of the Superstition Mountains. Sorry.
Hold on, let me get a picture of Frank with it. He looks like he's trying to fire a machine gun.
Like, yeah, some kind of weapon. You might want to center that lens, Frank.
Does it take you back to Vietnam, Frank?
Torpedoes!
In a
Lost!
way, it does. Somebody didn't have to hold the fucking thing.
It's going to rain.
Whoop.
He's trying to
Hold around and stick in the mouth.
That's heavy.
Not really.
You're old. You wouldn't have said that 20 years ago. Okay.
Just gonna stand there.
Yeah, we're just gonna stand there and not say anything for
Don't
about
say
10
that,
minutes.
just stare at it.
Throw it in there and make sure you bury it.
Yes.
There's your rock. Okay? After
There's some right down here too. Let me pull it back. You see some of it here. Huh. There you go.
We're testing each other.
Be the director. Get in there, Woody.
Good to see you. How you been?
that's the same cigar you had 3 years ago.
No, he eats them.
Does he? He needs that nourishment. Good to see you too, Woody.
He didn't do a retake. Frank wasn't cussing that.
It's beautiful in the summer.
We're going to see what kind of deal we can get.
Everything's colder on rocks.
Yeah, I see things like this Arctic Circle. I'm originally from Chicago. That type of thing, some things I don't want to do. They don't work so well here. I don't want to hear about wind chill anymore. I need the arrangements in trouble like that.
No poisonous snakes, no poisonous bugs.
There's polar bears.
No, they're further north. Although we do have muskox who wake up on the wrong side of the bed every morning.
My hometown is Wisconsin, 200 miles north. Because I like old.
One of my brothers lives in I don't know where.
Well, that's not the thing. That's the bridges.
Not as big a crowd here, huh?
That's a pretty good crowd, yeah.
Experience about
I have to pack you and bring it.
You believe this shit? Huh? Do you believe it? All you have to do is look at my Jeep. What's the Santa front? Legend. He's the mountain.
I'm the legend of the Superstition Mountains. Frank's called
And Woody
co-star.
is Superstition. And the two Erics there are the.
You know how Frank ended up as my co-star? My dog died.
I know.
They fly me into LA, put me in a hotel, give me a driver. I eat steak and lobster, you know, get the bar to myself. Frank, he gets to sit at home, you know, with his cat.
That's right. You can't find treasure doing that.
He has a treasure at home. Your treasure at home is Angie. That's on film. That'll make her happy. See, you got a tear.
See, the problem going on here. I know a couple of locals. Give her her half, and she hands it back to you a minute later and wants the money.
That's what's going on over here.
You get an ounce of gold, you could sell it to the club.
They're always in charge.
So it's always cool to kind of be handy and give everybody a hand with stuff. We go down with the GPAA and kind of hang out with them, and then we kind of move around the room and stuff with various different people. This year they had us handing out raffle tickets and all kinds of stuff, and kind of collecting people's tickets and stuff for them coming into the entranceway. Our line moved much slower because you got me and Frank over there, and everybody's stopping and shaking hands, wants a picture taken, and we were going through all that route, where the other side was just kind of, you know, nobody was over there. And then Woody was circulating around handing stuff out. It's always cool because I think a lot of people kind of stop, pause, and kind of maybe take it in more. I wish I could encourage more people that do, you know, what we've done and working in the I don't know, docudrama reality arena of kind of getting out there and mixing it up with people more, and kind of like reaching out to people as kind of get involved, here, take this, sign up, you know, get involved with one of these groups, because you want these people to be actively to realize, hey, this is kind of there's a brotherhood about this stuff. Now, you don't see me at any of the meetings and stuff with these groups, but I always like to come out and take part and help out, which whenever they have an event, if I got the time, I'm going to come out, and especially if it involves any way of teaching people stuff and all. My role always in all this is the guy that brings everybody in, right? I don't want to see an empty pans with Woody and Frank and people like that sitting there panning, trying to teach people to pan. I don't want to see empty pans. And time again, if you watch videos, you'll see where Frank's doing something, and then I'm encouraging people around him to watch him, pay attention. Hey, Frank, show this young man how to do this. Because that's always my thing, is I know that's their forte. I always like to direct because I want them to share that knowledge. I want people to pass along that knowledge, and that's always a cool thing. But it's cool to get in there and share the stories of not only the television show, but other stories about the mountains, and get to introduce them to other people around us, you know. And that's always very cool.
I go by there once or twice.
Oh, you're falling behind. Well, you were hailing well.
Now I know why people not showing. No, my husband did. He's going to get the extra one for you. That's the president. I just want to stick your hand
take it to recognize
You see, everybody recognizes me. Nobody recognizes him.
I got to bless someone. You had to touch me. Someone had to touch me.
They don't recognize me. I didn't wear the hat. You're good to go there.
What do you hand out extra ones to some girls? I didn't give them back. See what happens? You bring one in, everything slows down.
Good.
She saves those for kids with cancer.
What are you doing here, Woody? Go back to Fox. Go back to Prescott Valley.
See, the club owns the timing perfect. We own our own.
So as the front nose here comes off the ground, you're actually over the ocean.
But that's the main part of it. But fishing.
Thank you. That was all kind of interesting the way you did this. It's okay.
Well, hello. You don't recognize me.
Welcome to the Gold Show. Welcome to the Welcome to the Gold Show. Phoenix GPA Gold Show.
Yeah, I want to show off how this thing takes. I've got
That one you could probably shovel directly in.
right there.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
This panning area. Pan all you want and keep all the gold you get. All you do is get a bottle and a sucky bottle and suck it up. Look at all the people panning for gold. A lot of gold out there. Cool. Cool. Cool.
That stuff out to my truck. And then when I'm done with it, when I'm done with that.
I left animals too. Is this the resting spot?
Yeah, my people call us. Still in line too long.
Have fun.
See you later.
All right. Hey, old timer, here. I'm going to take these over to the booth. Evening there. Hey, Woody. How you doing? Good, good. What are you guys doing? We just got here. Hey, why don't go? We're going to come out to the 200-year awards. March 15th. Be there.
Okay, I'll be there. Thank you. Would you like another one? Okay. Because we do dinner. Yeah. Okay. Trying to go to Sunday. Okay. That's all metal. That's heavy. Yeah. It's a real pitch heavy. I was supposed to go riding. I was supposed to go last year. I don't know. Get the ticket. There you go. Awesome.
Yeah, you guys that's why I laughed so
How you doing, Dan? You feeling good? Yeah, it's good. Everything good? Everything's good.
Ready? He said that off camera.
Oh, he said the gold nugget, the gold rush.
Oh, hi. How you doing?
You can come in too. Just act like you're part of the group. You bring anything?
I did, but I give it to Bill.
No, that's what you want to give. Remember that one that you showed
If I want more, Bill's got it right now.
I'll take care of it. Babysitter.
Yeah.
Babysitter.
Yeah, no, he's used that nugget in the past for his talk.
Have you been down there and found any more?
I haven't been down there for 2 years.
Wow. Well, what is that from the upper or lower claims?
Huh?
Is that from the upper or lower claim? Which claim is this from?
That's from the number 5, the lower claim.
Okay.
Where we started at.
Why you call it number 5 if that's where you started at?
The lower claim.
Why is it number 5?
I don't know.
I'd call it number 1.
Yeah, I would call this 1. We started at 1. So how many claims did you have?
We had 2 claims up there.
You had 2, so how'd you come up with 5?
That's how I confused everybody. Isn't that kind of putting the X on the gold?
Yeah, right.
It was on number 5.
Number 5.
Just in case everybody.
Out of 2, okay.
Keep them confused. That's the main thing, you know?
The very first episode when we spent on the wall, we got massive gold out of it.
That was a good pocket.
Massive. Didn't we?
Even our prop guy got gold out of it. We took our prop guy out. He took some dirt, panned it out. First time he ever panned, we found nugget. So that was a good round. That was a good pocket. But unfortunately, that's what it was a pocket.
Yes.
That's having 3 little buckets.
We just had a little pocket off a wall.
That's about 7 ounces.
Now we get into.
Now we're going to get into.
No, you didn't bring
You're not being fair. I brought my nugget, but I give it to Bill. Wait a minute. Most of that was just taken off with a pick and a pan and a little gold well.
Oh, well, mine's just with a detect.
There was no equipment.
That's just with a detect.
That's when you were just scratching your ass not doing it.
Yeah. If I would have known afterwards.
I'm losing the camera here. That's nice.
That's a couple.
And that's all detector work, huh?
Probably 20 years. And all over Montana, California, Nevada, most of it.
You guys just shot the stink.
I would just love to go up and pinch on the team. I really would.
You know, and what's strange is right there out of Dawson. See all the tailings? And if you look at it, there's no coarse bedrock on the top. It's all rounded rock. So they never got to the bottom. And they made a lot of gold.
There was a guy, a couple of years ago, there was a guy that worked at Freddie or something, like 2 years. He got a gallon of tailings home. All 3 years. He went up to the gold well, here's the gold well. They put a little bit of meat in the pan, gold. all the way across. Let's come out of this road, go all the way across. So we took it over and they go, oh no, there's no way you're going to do it.
So $1 million question, and it's actually about the $1,500 per episode question. Would you do TV again after you learn what you experienced? Too much drama. See, exactly what I tell everybody. Woody hasn't learned yet, but it's way too much drama and bullshit.
They want you to do stuff over and over, and it's like, when you catch it, the natural activity happening.
It's exciting just digging and finding the gold. I mean, that's what most people want to see.
Yeah.
Forget that. We had fun with it. Forget that.
What was that? Is that your fighter pose?
Yes, join in.
This is exhausting. And I don't have to hold the camera.
Let's go down a little bit. There you go. There you go, make it look short. Do it? Yeah, well, you guys. Wait a minute. I like that. How you doing, Bob?
All right, how you been, Woody?
Awesome. Good. You gonna have a good season? Yes. Season, yes.
Season of, yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you guys.
We're all good. Have you guys had anything wrong? Oh, no. We were just talking drones. We got drones and stuff and stuff.
This show is not good.
Oh, I know. We should have a video. Right? Less and less
I got some maps. Yeah. And Superstition. Oh, really? I knew a guy that had these plastered on his wall. And he said they were 12 foot long and 8 foot wide. He said he used to look for Lost Dutchman too.
That might be interesting. So, going to look at.
Yeah, he said he didn't know it would happen. Well, I know somebody that's been looking for it. Sorry, they're yours. Oh, really?
Break your hand.
Sorry, broke.
Well, that Wayne and I'll just take a look at him.
Yeah, no, I don't know what all's there, but he said he was looking for a lot of stuff, so he's got, he said 12 by 8 wall for. That'd be interesting. Oh yeah, he said he had a mark where he was at. Superstition's right here. Superstition. He found the Dutchman, I guarantee it. He's just lying about it. Come on, Frank, what you got in your pockets?
So, they had this big, and you didn't get a picture with us too, right?
No, I got a picture already.
You got a picture of him? Picture?
Right here outside.
W-O-O-D. I'm trying to figure out how to get it. I'm trying to figure out how to. Okay, I'll be right back. He's going to drip my arms.
Don't do that. Special moment.
Oh, sorry.
It's only Woody can do.
It could be a G.
Come on, Wayne. Ah, Wayne.
Oh, I feel sorry.
That's a good laugh. I like that one. You'll have to look at these on our Facebook.
Okay. Hey, how come everybody keeps following me around and coming to me and have me sign stuff, and then they got a guest speaker?
There was a gentleman that approached me, a friend of his, and I can't recall the name. I know it's in the archives. Greg Davis has the name. But a friend of his who had prospected all through Arizona had quite a load of maps. I mean, this was a tube just, it had to weigh about 10 pounds of maps. And he's like, hey, he wanted to make sure to pass this along to you and all this stuff. And I was like, cool. And he gave me the gentleman's name, and I made sure I passed that along. I think I kept it in my head and really kept it there till I was able to pass the name along, and then I was able to let it go. But I wanted to make sure his name was associated with the maps, and I passed them to the Historical Society, so they're there if there's anything that will ever like help someone. And it was various areas, not just the Superstitions, but all through the Four Peaks area and other areas in Arizona, so going north. But it was very, very cool. It's not the first time something like that's happened. I've been passed on in other generations, their grandfathers or friends' maps or information. But it was very cool that he handed that off to me, wanted to specifically meet me, and they wanted to make sure it specifically went to me. I went through everything. I found it very interesting, made my copies and stuff, but also at the same time, so people understand, is I'm not a selfish, self-centered person. I want to make sure I put this stuff in the archives, that we remember these prospectors that no one would probably remember otherwise, but their legacies, part of their journey, whatever they did is preserved, and their names are preserved. And I've been able to do that with a dozen or so people, and I'm very happy that I have for those families and so forth, because, you know, there's never a wasted day in the mountains. Any day in the mountains is a good day in the mountains, and it's always very cool to pass those legacies of what those other people did on to the next generation.
Nice to meet you.
Master him looking at Superstitions for Lost Dutchman. I thought it might be interesting to look at. You want me to take it home? Yeah. I'm older now. Look at it. We'll see what's on it. It's not that it would do me any good, it would do us good, if anything. You know what I'm saying?
8 foot by what?
It's looking at 8 foot by 12. I need a bigger table.
It's very cool. Do you remember his name?
Probably not. I'm pretty sure I'm working.
And it was a good time down there. I got to see a lot of people. Casey Morgan, who I did one of the Gold Rush spinoffs. I can't remember which one it is. Can't remember. It was the Lost Mines of Dave. I don't know. I think that was it. The Dave's Lost Mine thing. They were doing that on Discovery and stuff and all. But Casey was very cool. Had his son down. It's good to see his son running around doing stuff. Casey being all, you know. So it's cool to kind of run into one another down there like that from various different shows. It's not a competitive market, because we're not really making it a difference or booting each other off the air or taking anyone's space. It's a niche thing, and I think most of us understand it. It's not a way you can make a living. If you think you're gonna get rich off of doing this kind of stuff, you need to go find yourself a real job real fast, because you make yourself rich off of hard work and determination in a specific area, and this is not that place. Now, that being said, it's always great to work with these people. You know, the Golden Gem Show, we've been doing that, the Flag Foundation show, the GPA events, and all these types of things for years now. So for the last 4 or 5 years, we've been actively involved and always making out and going out and reach out. There's just different cities, different neighborhoods and stuff. So always kind of definitely locally here. I know I've been invited to other places nationally, and I just don't feel like I'm worth thousands of dollars to put me up in a hotel and have me come out and guest speak for you. But if you're ever in town and one of these shows are going on, I do show up. I don't want a dime for it. I'm willing to hang back and just, you know, have my own lunch. And, you know, usually the people at these events give me lunch. But yeah, I'm pretty easy, you know, for a soda and a sandwich and a bag of chips. I'll sit there and talk all day to everybody, because I don't think it's anything special, and you want to share your experiences, and you want to encourage people to kind of get off the couch and do stuff. And I don't think I'm that big of a deal. If I want to make money, I know how to go make money, you know, doing something else. And I'm not out there just trying to convince people I'm the shit, you know, because definitely. Well, I guess there are people that would say I am a shit, but I'm not the shit. But anyways, thank you to all those people who always invite us out and do this stuff, because they treat us so hospitably and they treat us so well. And it's always good to get together with all the other treasure hunting guys and Woody and Frank.
The Victory Club.
Big moment for the Treasure Hunter of the Year award, and tonight we will be having Greg Man's present award inductee individual.